Okay, so here's a very first beginning RobotC video on just the basics. I've just opened it up for the first time. I won't be able to do everything you do because I'm not connected to a Cortex brain. But when it looks, this is how it starts up. First thing you want to do is you want to go click on Robot, and you want to come down to Platform Type, and you want Natural Language Vex Cortex. That needs to be the one that you're picked. Check to make sure. You may have to go down to a drop down or something. But again, it still says Natural Language Vex Cortex. You want that. That's important. The next thing is you would go to Download Firmware, and you would click on Automatically Update Vex Cortex. This will automatically download to the Cortex the firmware and the RobotC programming. If you just do this automatically, it seems to be working very well right now. So you do those two things first. After you've done that, you go to File and Open Sample Program. There's a lot of sample programs in here. Just as to show you, if I double click on one of these, you'll see there's things to do different stuff with the robot. What you want is the one that says PLTW. Open, double click on that and open it. And then you want to click on the PLTW template. Double click on that and open that one up. What that does is that opens up a blank program in here, and it also gets you the program, the things that you need in order to make it do stuff. Okay? Now the next thing you want to do is immediately do a file, save as, and go into my document somewhere and save it, create a file and put it in a folder there. I don't have anything probably done here. Okay, I could save it to this folder here then. And I'll put an H at the end of it just so that I know it's different. And I save it in there. And that also changes the name. You have tabs up here showing you the programs. As you have more programs opening, you can switch back and forth. See, that was that start page. So here I am. So now all programming occurs in here. Now, before we get to programming, I'm going to do that as a separate video. I go to Robot, and I go to Motors and Sensors Setup. I click this. This gives me this box here, and this is in that first worksheet, Inputs and Outputs. And you've got digital sensors, analog sensors, motors, and so on. So if I put in here, I don't remember the numbers, I don't have the paper with me, but if I just say this is a touch sensor, that's the limit switch, and I call that limit. And I do another one, and I do a quadrature encoder. That one gives you two plugs because they're next to each other, and you call that quad or whatever. Follow the ones on the paper. I don't have that with me. Actually, what it does do is it gives all of these different names. These are the names. Actually, don't do this because then you can't see it, but it looks like this. And once I apply that, you'll then be able to see that line follower is one, potentiometer, light sensor, digital sensors. These are all the ones that we have. Sonar has two plugs, quad has two plugs, and this is where they would all go. Motors right here. Don't do it using this thing that I did, because when you do, it won't show up. I'll show you. It doesn't show up here, and you want that up there because you want to be able to see that. So if I click on this one, which actually has it done, this is what you want it to look like when you get all done. It should have all of these things listed like this. This way you remember when you're writing your code, you can look up here and say, oh yeah, my light sensor is named light sensor. My potentiometer is called pot, so that you can tell these different things. Bump, that's my bump switch, which is a sensor touch, as opposed to the other one, the limit switch, which is also the same. So they got the same type, but they have different names, so you can tell them apart. All right. Then once you have that, then you save it. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to delete this and just show you. And so that right there gets you started. And what I'm going to do is, let me see if I can open up the debugger. I don't think I can without being connected. Yeah, I don't think I can do that. Wait, let me pause. No, so I can't open up the debugger window to make things start. I'm not going to worry about it. You guys can figure that out. Two things. One, under Robot, one other thing that you want to do, where it says communication mode, check the one that says competition VexNet. That one allows it to immediately, when you click compile and download, it will immediately go there. If you click this one, which is kind of the default, it will wait for a wireless signal, which we're not going to be using. So click this one, and that way you won't have to have that wait time between your program running and downloading it. But what you would be doing in the inputs and outputs is you would compile and download, and that opens up a debugger window here where you would put in some numbers, and you should be able to figure that out from there. So I'm going to stop this one here, and then I'm going to do one on some basic programming.